what happened 2 years ago was an anomaly. I mean, the fact that real estate prices soared in our market significantly and the amount of demand coming down here was through the roof, that was something we had never seen before. People that took advantage of it during that time did phenomenal. There's still plenty of equity in a lot of these homes. The pricing just isn't where it was at the beginning of the pandemic. Hi, my name is Bobby Hourback. I'm a real estate broker here with Compass in South Florida, and today we're going to cover the selling process. When somebody's selling a house for the first time, there's a lot of things that come up that they're not familiar with or don't have contacts. This is a stressful process. It's the biggest asset that they have more times than not, and they haven't sold or bought a house in a long time. So I think it's important for me as an agent to help guide them, help be a resource, provide them with contacts that they may need throughout this process. I try to treat my clients like I would want to be treated. There aren't a lot of people that can afford a $2 or $3 million home. So when you have those listings, it's important that you've priced it right and that you put it in the best presentation possible so that when people come to see the home, that you have a realistic opportunity of selling it. So when I sit down with a homeowner, there's usually two ways that we have this conversation. There's the price that meets the market where we can generate a good amount of activity, which leads to offers so that my clients can have conversations and ultimately lead to a sale. Or we can have an inflated price where we're not generating that activity, and in 3 or 4 weeks we'll have to have that conversation as far as where we're going to reprice it to meet that market. Sellers will say, I'd rather have a higher price and have plenty of room to negotiate, which is understandable, but data has shown over the years that if it's priced right, there'll be less room to negotiate and you'll end up getting the price that you're looking for than to have a higher price where you're not getting the activity or the traction on that listing and you're not getting the offers, and ultimately you then have to make a decision in 3 or 4 weeks, and then you're worried about whether the buyers think it's stagnant or what they think that you made a price reduction. Does that mean you're desperate? I mean, all those things come into factor. To me, if it's priced right the first time, understanding the market conditions and what's recently sold in there, coupled with the improvements that you've done to your house or lack of improvements you've done to your house, and we price it accordingly, we'll get the results. You know, what happened 2 years ago was an anomaly. I mean, the fact that real estate prices soared in our market significantly and the amount of demand coming down here was through the roof, that was something we had never seen before. People that took advantage of it during that time did phenomenal. There's still plenty of equity in a lot of these homes. The pricing just isn't where it was at the beginning of the pandemic. Interest rates certainly have been a huge role. A year ago we were in the 4s and now we're in the high 7s. That changes buyers' buying power. You know, somebody who was able to afford a home at $1.2 million a year ago is probably only able to afford $800,000 or $900,000 home right now. That changes a lot of things, and that also affects comparable sales. So now you have new sales that are in a community that are constantly changing the price of what homes are going for. That affects assessed values, that affects property taxes. It affects a variety of things, but sellers in this market have to understand that what happened last year isn't happening today, and it's important to make sure that you have your property in the best showing shape possible and priced right. So when I come to your house, first thing you're going to do is show me around, talk about all the improvements and what has made this home so important to you and your family. Those are things that are important to me to have conversations with buyers when they come to see the house. Then what we're going to talk about is pricing and market data so that we have a clear picture of pricing in the market, what our competition is, traction, and realistic expectations of how long it's going to take to sell the house. A lot of questions are going to come up about how long it's going to take from the time that we sign the listing agreement to seeing it on Realtor.com or Zillow, and then timeline of open houses, broker opens, showings, how often they'll happen, how long do you think it's going to take from the time that we list it to get it to contract? What are we going to do if I need to find another house to purchase? Do I need to make sure that I have this under contract first before I can start looking, or can I start looking and then once we have this under contract, pull the trigger on the next property?